Hey guys, thanks for joining me once more. This is part 2 in my player guide video series. Now, this is a really good guide. Well, it's intended to be a really good guide for newer players to the game, but I'll also be covering some more advanced mechanics in subsequent videos as well. So, you might still learn a thing or two, even if you've got the basics down. Anyhow, in this part, I am going to be focusing on building a ship. Now it's going to be a pretty basic ship, just a sailing ship, using parts that everybody will have access to. Even if you just started the game, you're just logging in for the first time, you will be able to follow along to this and build yourself, this ship. Um, you might put your own spin on it or whatever, but yeah, essentially, I'm not going to be using any advanced parts from schematics I found in chests, even though I have unlocked some. As you can see, I've obviously got some engines and cannons and wings and all sorts of stuff that I've got in chests, but I won't be using any of that. So this will be purely a newbie ship. In part 3, I will then cover building a more advanced ship using those parts, so an engine powered ship. So jumping right in, as you can see, I've already got a good range of resources right now. Not, I mean, mostly smaller stacks, unfortunately, which could prove problematic when it comes to actually crafting stuff, because as I detailed in the last video, you need a full stack of whatever material. So if I wanted to craft this wing, I'm going to need a stack of at least 113, which, to be fair, I have 113 of any metal, and then a stack of 37, and a stack of 37, another stack of 37. So yeah, I should be okay for a basic ship. I'm not going to go gung ho on this. It's not going to be, the design's not going to be crazy. It's not going to be a huge ship. It's going to be pretty small, lightweight, quick. The idea is to get me off my starter island. Now, obviously, this isn't my starter island. I have another ship crafted already, but yeah, if you're following along to this and you're just logging in, just getting to grips with the game, you found yourself on an island. You've got some basic resources. Now, what do you do? And that's what this video is going to cover. So, as you can see, I've already got a shipyard down and an assembly station. I took the time to do that in advance, and obviously also took the time to gather some resources although otherwise this video could go on potentially for a pretty long time. And I wanted to cut down on that side of things. If you want to know how to gather resources, that's covered in my first video. I go quite in depth about especially with metal nodes and how you can lose the shards of metal off the side of an island if you're not careful. So go give that a watch if you haven't already. That covers the fundamentals. But assuming you already know how to gather resources and you know what you're doing there, you should have some to start your ship with. So I've got a chest here as well to store some stuff. I'm gonna go dump some of these smaller stacks of wood that I don't really need right now in there. It's quality 9. Just going to destroy that stack. I'm not really going to use 9 wood. So we're going to go over here and take a look at the ship schematics. Oh, first of all, actually, just in case you don't know how to build these, obviously I've done it in advance, so I did it before I started recording. But if you're not sure how to do this, you press tab to access your inventory. You go to multi-tool, the shipbuilding drop down, and then you've got shipyard and assembly station. As you can see, they require a certain amount of metals for both. You would simply drag your stacks by holding left mouse. Drag the resource into these slots, and then at the top here you'll have craft, and yeah, that's what you do. I'm not going to craft another one. The quantity option does not work right now, but hopefully you know, it will in the future. Um, you have to make sure that you have enough space in your inventory. The shipyard is actually quite big. I believe it's something like that. If you don't have enough space, it won't let you craft it, so it's not like you're going to craft it and then drop it on the floor or anything like that. But you know, always worth making sure that you've already got space. So I'm in this nice little gully on the island, out of sight of the spawn potato, as I call it, the spawn temple. These glowing things here are jellyfish, um, flying jellyfish. So they don't actually serve much of a purpose right now other than looking pretty. I don't even think you can kill the jellies actually. Oh, maybe. No, I'm not sure if that's hurting it or not. But anyway, they're not as yeah, they're passive. They don't do anything. Whereas the mantas will, the mantas are always aggressive if they see you or if they hear your ship. They will come for you if you get too close to them. The beetles are neutral. They won't attack you unless you start harvesting trees near them, in which case they'll aggro. They don't like that. You're essentially destroying their home. So they'll come for you in that case. But the jellies just sit there and look pretty. Like this one that's got itself wedged under my shipyard. They're very cool. When you see them in caves and stuff, they'll give off this glow, light the area. And it's nice to see a bunch of them flying above an island and stuff. It's pretty cool. So yeah, anyway, shipbuilding. So we're going to go over here. And as you can see, when you access your shipyard, you'll have a code. Now, other people will be locked out from accessing the shipyard unless you share this code with them. They can still salvage the shipyard though, and that's worth pointing out. So, these are your basic preset schematic. You can just build one of these if you choose. I'm just going to show you. So that's the dinghy. Small little dinghy there, not much to it. Meant to be a one-man starter vessel. Skyship's a little bit bigger. Has an underdeck, lower deck, and that's pretty cool. And you've got the tower, as it's called, which is pretty complex design. The spear, which is actually my personal favourite shape, preset shape. I've used this as a basis, as a base quite a lot, and then just done minor tweaks to it. That's a pretty cool shape. And then the Behemoth V2. So in the old alphas, before they added the custom ship frames, there were only two preset ships. There was the standard vessel, I can't remember the name of, you'll have to forgive me, and the Behemoth, as it was called. To be honest, I preferred how the Behemoth V1, the old Behemoth, looked to this one, but there you go. You could probably create something similar to the original Behemoth using the custom ship shaper, which I'm about to show you right now. So, select the dinghy here. So to craft the standard dinghy, the basic dinghy will require 154 metal and just 30 wood. As I say, there's not much to it. It's very, very small. It's not even a ship. It's a boat, essentially, hence the name dinghy. But we're going to edit it a little bit. So when you go into edit mode, you'll see this, which is pretty cool. And it's kind of like a simplified 3D modeling program, I guess. If you ever use something like, I don't know, Maya or 3D Max or whatever. Very, very dumbed down version of that. Obviously, it has to be so that everybody can use it. But you've got your axes here, and so by dragging certain parts, you can essentially change how it looks. I could go like a hammerhead design, or you can change the frame here. I mean, a lot of people go for like these really weird, complex designs, which is cool. It's nice to see variety, but right now it's worth mentioning that the paneling system isn't finalized and doesn't always play well with the new custom hull system. So bear that in mind when you are designing your ship. Try and envision where the panels are going to go, how you want it to look, etc. So by using the squares, you can add sections. As you can see, I simply, you know, holding left mouse on it and drag. And you can also, you know, reduce them like that. Or add an upper section, like so. You know, you can go pretty crazy with this. It's again, it is a simplified modeling tool, so that everybody who's playing the game can use it, even if they've got like no 3D experience or whatever. But it does still allow, you know, a great deal of versatility and creativity. So that's pretty cool. So as I say, we're just gonna go for something simple. I don't want to go crazy with this. I am gonna add. Sorry, wrong one. We are gonna add a third section there, and perhaps an upper section like so. It does get a little bit crowded with all these icons and stuff as well. So if it's starting to look, you know, you want a better look at your actual shape, just click done. You don't have to craft it yet. You can just click done, and obviously that enlarges it. And then you can have a look at how it's looking in full scale. So as you can see right now, it's still pretty basic, but that's what I want anyway. So I'm going to go back and edit it. I'm just going to smooth this cabin area off a little bit, make it a little bit cooler. Pop something like that. Let's have a look at it in full scale. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad if I have the helm sort of positioned somewhere there. That'll look pretty cool. Going to get rid of that flat front as well. Not too struck on that. I'll just round that off a little bit. I think we'll just raise that ever so slightly, like so. Okay, so look how it's looking. I think that's good. So now what I'm going to do is you have a couple of options. You can revert changes, which will reset it back to what it was before you started editing it. Obviously the edit button, which I just used to edit it again, if you're not quite done. You've got save, which will save the current design and overwrite the default, or you can unload it, which will unload it from the shipyard itself. Duplicate is grayed out right now, but you'll eventually be able to copy schematics, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. As you can see, you know, the material cost has gone up a little bit because I made it a little bit more advanced. So we're going to require 292 metal, 70 wood. Now, as you can see, I haven't got enough metal, unfortunately, which I suspected would happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my wood in there, and I'm going to go get some metal if I can find some, because this island looks a bit tricky. I'm just going to put my bigger stacks of stuff in there in case I, you know, bite the dust, as it were. In fact, I might craft another chest here. Yes, in fact I will. So I'm just going to craft that real quick. And to place chests, you drag, well, place any item, you drag it into your hotbar like so. Should have mentioned that regarding the shipyard and stuff as well. Drag it into your hotbar, press the corresponding key, number key, and bring up like a highlight of where it's going to go. If it's green, it's placeable. If it's red, it's not, as you can see. And this is, again, you'll see exactly the same with the shipyard and stuff. It'll show you a highlight of the shipyard model. So I'm going to hide that under the ramp there. Make sure it's still accessible, which it is. I'm going to put some of this stuff in there. I'll probably come back and find everything has been stolen, which would just be my luck. But if that's the case, then I will probably have to stop the recording there and come back to it once I've gathered some more stuff. But let's hope that that's not the case. So I'm gonna go have a look for give a frame rate dip. These will happen. Obviously, the game hasn't been optimized fully yet, so there's going to be performance issues from time to time. I'm not seeing any metal nodes, just my luck. I'm going to go underneath the island, which is usually where people neglect to look. And there's one there, as I said in the video yesterday, someone's been and harvested it, not completely destroyed it, which means it hasn't respawned, which means I'm shit out of luck. Let's see if there's any scrap left in it, and unfortunately there isn't. So I'm going to blow it. Just to be courteous. So there's a metal node there, as you can see, just floating in the sky. I'm not really fancy chancing that one, so what I think I will do is stop this recording briefly so that you're not watching me run around an island trying to find resources, and once I'm back at my shipyard, ready to craft it, I will resume the recording. Alright guys, alright, so obviously I've been gone a few minutes there. Stop the recording, and obviously you won't see that because I'll join the two together when I edit it and render it. But I got really lucky actually. I didn't spend as long harvesting metal nodes as I thought. I came across a couple of loot bags just around the corner, and I found all these goodies. And actually, there's still some stuff I had to leave behind in the bag that I can go grab if I need it. In one of the bags because I didn't have the room for it. So yeah, stroke of luck. You know, it looked like there was a destroyed ship around there, ship on its ceiling, on its roof, upside down, and two loot bags, and again, it just comes back to what I was saying yesterday about player stories. I'm sat there puzzling, you know, wondering how two players have died, and the ship's ended up upside down. Have they maybe fluffed the takeoff or something? But yeah, stroke of luck for us doing this video. Right, so I now have enough to craft this. So I'm going to use, look, I can even be picky now. I'm just going to use nickel, I think, for the frame. Yeah, that'll do. So I'm going to click craft, and as you can see, it's going to take about 50 seconds for this one. The bigger and more complex the design, the longer it'll take. You can see it's coming together. So in the meantime, I'm going to sort through these resources I've got and see if I can stack some of them up if I've got the same quality. Quality 2, nickel, quality 7, quality 5. This is the big problem right now, obviously, the system that I spoke about yesterday, where you'll be able to merge two of the same quality but of different two of the same metals, but well, materials, but of different quality, is not in yet, and so inventory management's a bit of a pain in the backside. Stack that. 7 as well. Stack that. But you know, once that's in, it'll be a massive help. Take a look at our ship, and it's done. So there you go. Got our basic ship frame. I'm going to go up onto the deck. That's a little bit lower than I'd like that actually, but once the helm's there, I was hoping I could just run out the front like so, but no matter. Once the helm's there, it won't be a big issue. Right now, sloped. I made a bit of a boo-boo here as well. Obviously, the sloped frame parts you can't deck. So if I try to put this deck there, it won't let me. I might be able to panel it with a little bit of creativity. And as you can see, that's why the front sloped part here isn't panelled either. But again, I should be able to, sorry, decked, but I should be able to panel it, so it's not a big issue. So let's have a look. There we go. You can also, to get on top of the deck, if you're having trouble, you can now grapple the shipyard dome, which is very useful. I'm just going to pause the recording momentarily again because I'm going to change my push to talk. I rebound it yesterday after walking around as I bound it to alt. I rebound it today to control. Totally forgot that control is actually to reel out the grapple. Derp. So yeah, whenever I'm grappling and talking, it's actually reeling me out. It's a bit of a pain, so bear with me one moment. Okay, so I've rebound it to alt. It's still an inconvenience, but none of the keys feel comfortable for me. That'll have to do. Don't know why I said bear with me a second ago, because obviously for you, constant viewer, it will be instantaneous. I guess I'm just used to, when I'm playing with buddies or whatever, just telling them to hold up a sec while I mess around with that kind of thing. Anyway, so we're gonna start our ship. Now, the first thing, right now, I'd recommend always leaving the helm till last. The reason for that is that as soon as you put a helm on your ship, someone can come over, jump on the helm, hijack it, whatever. As I said, there is a lot of there are a lot of imbalances right now. Griefing is much easier than it will be. Obviously, that will be addressed. But for now, I'll leave the helm till last. So we're going to start with the cores. These are what will make the ship float. Now, I've only got the basic scavenger sky core. You can get a more advanced core, an Atlas core, which will, give you more lift per core, so you won't need as many as you would of these. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal. As you can see, when you put the materials in the slot underneath, it'll tell you what the weight's going to be. So if I experiment with different types of wood there, it's going to be 25, nearly 26 kilos. Oh, that's the same wood, sorry. Chestnut, 28. Chestnut's heavier. Cedar's quite a light wood, I believe. I can't remember if it's the lightest wood in the game. As I say, a chap called Divine Evil did a lot of research on this a couple of alphas ago. I did link that research in the description for part 1 of this series. Very, very useful. Bear in mind that some of those values may have changed or are subject to change because it's still in alpha, but nevertheless, it's still quite relevant, I believe. So I'm just going to go with chestnut for this. Sorry, cedar even. Yeah. Which is 18 kilos, and then metal. I'm not too fussed. Tin or iron. I believe iron's going to be heavier than tin, isn't it? Marginally. So that'll do. I'm gonna craft one of those, and then once it's finished, I'm gonna select, press 3 to select the placement tool, the lift mode as it's called. Look at the object. As you can see, it's now got a blue outline around it. Left click. Now this purple bubble, you'll only get this with cores, and that's basically you should try and balance your cores when you're crafting your ship. That basically shows the radius that the core is going to provide lift to or within. So yeah, it's always a good idea to, again, stuck on there. Always a good idea to place these throughout the ship. The larger your ship, the more you'll need. and try and space them evenly, that kind of thing. Before you could just bundle all your cores together, but the devs, you know, they've put this system in with it where it will only provide a lift within a certain radius to try and stop people from bundling cores all in one location. Not to mention, doing that is asking for trouble from griefers. They can just come on, one-timed explosive, boom, there go your cores. So yeah, space them evenly. If you have the space within your ship, you know, I'd even recommend sort of paneling a few up, you know, away out of sight behind some paneling, just to hide them and make them harder to grief. But you know, for this ship, I'm just gonna place them on the underside of the top deck there. It's still spawning. Take a little longer than I anticipated. Alright, it's done. I mean, we probably get away with 2. If I take that off a second, does it go red? No. Basically, it looks like the ship's light enough that 1 core will actually provide enough lift to keep it afloat. But if that yellow light there goes red, that means you haven't got enough cores to provide enough lift for your ship. And that light on the side of the core will actually turn red when that's the case. Because this is a small ship, that's not the case. But I'm going to put 3 on anyway, just for the sake of it, really, just to make sure that I'm covered. Looks like I'm out of cedar. Unless I put some over here, and I did not. Nope. Never mind. Any wood will do. It doesn't really matter that much. As I say, it affects the weight slightly. But for your first ship, you're probably not bothered about that. You're going to be using whatever resources you have access to. It's going to be later on, you know, when you're crafting a more advanced ship, that you'll start to worry about different quality materials, different types of materials, what's lighter, you know, what's yeah. I mean, all that comes into play later. But for your starter ship, it's not going to be that big of a factor. There's our 3rd core. So that will keep the ship afloat. If someone came along now and salvaged this shipyard, sorry, that ship would stay aloft. It's got enough lift now to stay afloat. So next, we're not going to use a fuel tank because you don't start with fuel tank schematics. You have to find those in chests. So ignore that. That's not there. You know, again, if you're just starting out, you won't have access to that. The next step would be the crew reviver. Now I'm gonna craft one just for the sake of doing so, but I'm not going to assign to it because I've actually me and my community actually have another ship, and you can only be assigned to 1 respawn disk at a time. So if I assigned to this one, I'd lose access to the other ship, and those guys, when they get on later, would have to come in and pick me up, and I'm sure they wouldn't be best impressed. So yeah, so I will place this, but I'm not going to assign to it. Now I'm going to place it. I'm going to place it just there. No, maybe not. Maybe I'll put it outside on the top deck. Like so. As I say, I won't assign to it, but once you place that, as you can see at the top there, you would hold the E key to register to that, and then your name will appear on this panel here. Sometimes the names glitch out, and you might come across some ships where it's all a jumble of letters and different names. That's just a visual glitch. But yeah, your name will appear on there, and you'll be assigned. And when you die, you'll have an option to respawn at your crew respawner. So that's done. The next step would be some sails. Don't cost any metal, just wood right now. Eventually, once they get fibers and stuff in, I imagine the sail would actually cost cloth or some such. Right now, you just craft the mast and the sail's included in it. Obviously, all placeholder. So I'm going to go with the last bit of cedar because I only have 56 anyway. I'm going to destroy those remaining 6. Now, you want to make sure, so I forgot to mention this, I did mean to mention it, had it in my notes before I started, but when you're placing your assembly station within range of your shipyard, obviously you need to make sure it's going to be within range of this bubble, this dome, which you'll have to anticipate before you start building the ship. Or you could load up the ship and then put the assembler station down so that you know for sure that it's inside the dome. But the main thing is to make sure it's not too close to the shipyard, because if your ship actually, when you construct your ship, if your ship overlaps it or whatever, these masts, when you come to craft a sail or a crow's nest or some of the other taller items for your ship, it'll tell you that you don't have space, and you know, it's a pain in the neck. You've then got to craft another assembly station and mess around with that. So always make sure that it's a little ways away, just so you have enough space to craft stuff like this. As you can see, quite tall. So we're going to go up top. I'm going to put that there like so. Don't worry about it clipping through things. It's not an issue. It won't cause any damage or anything right now. Back down. I'm going to craft another one. I maybe should have used something I had more of, but whatever. I'm a bit worried about the balance, but I don't think it shouldn't matter that much. Go with chestnut, because why not? Gonna grab that, ready for it finishing. Back up to the top deck. It takes a second with it being a bigger item. And done. I'm going to put that on the opposite side. Right, this is my OCD kicking in, but actually placement will affect balance a little bit. Not massively. It's, you know, it's not fully simulated in that regard, but I like things to be as asymmetrical as possible when they can be. So that's that. I'm going to do a little bit of panel on the top if I can. So we'll go to the panels here. We're going to go with wood because it's lighter, and I've got more wood than I have metal. As I said in the last vid, I believe metal's a little bit further along in development. As you can see, we've got different sized metal panels. We only have the one size for wood panels. Sometimes they'll do that when they land and freak out. Sometimes they'll land on your head and kill you if you're close enough to the crafting station, the assembly station. So be careful of that. Now what I want to try and do is panel this top bit. And it's going to be a bit of a pain. I'm going to grapple the dome. Ah, there we go. And I can stop swinging. It isn't going to be pretty, but it'll do the job. These don't take long to craft the panels, thankfully. And you can stack them on there as well if you craft multiple, unless they topple like that just did. Go back up here. A few more of these. I'm not going to spend time paneling the entire ship. I'm just demonstrating the paneling system and trying to box off that helm area a little bit. I might put some on the sides, to be fair, but I won't be going mad. You can panel it up as much as you like, of course. Panel placement works exactly the same as the other parts. You know, once it's crafted, you select it by pressing key 3 on the hotbar. 3 key, which will access lift mode, and then left mouse button on the object, which will give you this blue highlight of where it's going to go, and then you simply gotten a bit wrong, but you get the idea anyway. I'm really frustrated with myself that I didn't put that front bar high enough to be able to run through, but never mind. Put that there like so. In fact, just move that over a little bit. Do that. That will do for the top. So yeah, as I say, it's not pretty, but it does the job. It'll offer some protection. If you do the sides as well, obviously, and what. There we go. Create. You will start with the ability to craft crates. It's always useful. You probably want a couple of these. It's just to take any spare resources you've got with you when you take off. So I don't want to be blocking the helm because I'm going to be putting the helm about here. So I'll just put those to the side. Well, that was quick. You can clip these inside each other and place them like so. Not sure if that's ever going to be addressed, if they'll have more collision or not. But yeah, you can do that to save on space if you wanted to. They have around the same inventory space, so I think they have exactly the same inventory space as chests. Yeah, it looks like. So, you're going to need a few of those probably. I'll do one more. One more should be enough. So yeah, now we want, as I say, I'm not going to panel all this up. I could if I wanted to, and you've already seen me placing the panels. I'm sure you know how to do that now. It's probably a good idea to do that, yourself, to protect those important internals such as the cores and stuff. You could fully panel that underside if you didn't want access to the bottom deck. You could fully panel it off. Because you don't need access to the core, so you could do that if you wanted to. I'm not going to craft any of these gauges because you won't have access to those. Decoration items, cannons, wings, and engines you won't have access to either. That'll be covered in a future vid. So the last thing to do, really, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll move the resources over first. No, you know what? I won't, because I don't need them. Because I'm not going to be taking this ship. As I say, I've got another ship. This is just for the purpose of the video. So yeah, last thing to do then is to... Oh, is that lead? I do not want to be crafting with lead. That's heavy. So we'll just use some bronze and craft our helm. Oh, we've got a player who's probably come to grieve me. Wonderful. Let's hope he doesn't. Maybe I should tell him I'm recording a vid. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he's friendly. Excuse my. I'm so jaded. There are a lot of griefers right now, unfortunately. Maybe it was wrong to be prejudgmental about this guy. He seems okay. If he griefs me, hey, it'll be something for the vid at least, and you'll get to see that in action. But yeah, as I say, I've not assigned myself to the respawn disk because I'm not going to be keeping this video, this ship. It's just for the purpose of the video. But I do want to take off with it, and I'm going to just show you essentially how to take off. Now there are two ways. The first is to simply jump on the helm and hold spacebar. Once you've ascended enough, as you can see I'm ascending quite quickly, and that's because it's a small ship and I've got 3 cores on here. Once you've ascended enough to be out of range of the shipyard, because it will pull you back in if you're still quite close to it. Once you've ascended enough, you simply go over to your sails, hit E on them to unfurl them, like so. The other way, oh shucks, is not to do that. The other way to take off would be to actually salvage the shipyard from underneath your ship. So yeah, you can simply hop down, use your gauntlet tool. I'm not going to go back down to demonstrate that, but you use your gauntlet tool, hold the left mouse button to salvage away at the shipyard until it despawns. And yeah, that will obviously destroy the shipyard, and your ship will then be free. It will be decoupled, and you'll be free to go on your way. I'm going to turn the ship around so that I'm not facing the wind wall. Sails and wind wall, yeah, not good bedfellow. And now I've screwed myself a little bit as well. I'm such an amateur, you'll have to forgive me, because if I die now, I'm not assigned to that spawn disk. And I might have to ask this guy to stop it turning, because I'm struggling to get back up. Alright. He's kindly done that for me. Thank you very much. I'm not sure which way we're facing now. Right, yeah, we've got our backs to the wind wall, which is what we don't want to be going into that wind wall. Access the sail. So, yeah, I mean, basic sailing, you know, it's not a fully simulated sailing mechanic in the game. It's never going to be. It's not intended to be. But you basically need to tack back and forth to keep the wind at your back. So as you can see, if I turn right here, yeah, if I turn right, the sail's going to be sort of parallel with the deck, kind of 180 degrees if you're using the bow. Would it be? But yeah, you want to keep them at roughly 90 degrees. That's optimal. So obviously that takes me towards the wind wall, which we don't want. But you know, ideally, as close to 90 degrees as possible. That will give you full speed. You're trying to keep the wind at your back, and you know, for full speed, for optimal speed. You know, you can put more sails on. It'll give you a little bit of extra speed. It is going to be slow. It's not meant to be really quick. It might take you a little while to get to an island, but rest assured, you know, tacking back and forth to keep with the wind, you'll eventually come across an island. Again, can't stress it enough. Do not try and go through wind wall with a sailing ship. It will be very bad. It's not possible. And yeah, that about wraps up the vid, actually. I can't really think of anything else that I might have missed. If you do have questions, as always, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them if I'm able to. And in part 3, we will be covering more advanced ships. We'll be covering, I'll be building a ship with an engine, or well, more than one engine, some engines and fuel tanks and that kind of stuff. And I will explain all that in part 3. Probably take a couple of days for part 3 to come, guys, because I've got some stuff to take care of in real life. But I wanted to get part 2 out as quickly as possible after part 1, so hence why I've recorded it today. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I hope to see you guys in the skies soon. Take care.